For years, they've remained silent, bound by oaths of secrecy and the fear of ridicule. But now, those who've witnessed the impossible are breaking their silence. Former Area 51 employees, military personnel, and local residents are stepping forward with jaw-dropping stories of unexplained phenomena, unidentified aerial objects, and even encounters with extraterrestrial beings. This is their time to be heard. Prepare to hear the chilling testimonies that will make you question everything.
Number 10. Nighttime operations. On November 15th, 2020, well-known YouTube videographers Tim and Tracy of the UFO Seekers channel took an interesting clip shot from outside the restricted Nevada Test and Training Range, or the NTTR. The new video shows some common NTTR activity, including the camo dude, security personnel, the comings and goings of NTTR employee shuttles, and more interestingly, a lot of air activity over the region, especially at night. The video showed what is most likely a significant nighttime special operations tactical training exercise or capabilities tested at the Nevada Test and Training Range. Most interestingly, the scene appears to be lit by a series of LUU-19BB infrared air-dropped illumination flares for use with night vision devices. The video was 20 minutes long and shows a series of bright lights at low altitude as viewed through their infrared night vision video equipment. Visible in the video are a series of orbiting lights around the brighter descending lights. About specific tests and training activities inside the NTTR don't surface often. The US Air Force published an article on October 24, 2020, saying operations on the Nevada Test and Training Range are continuous. When one operation finishes, another is right behind it, ready to begin. The couple also caught a video of security vehicles and a large bus leaving the gated area distantly adjacent from where the action in their video took place. Now, it's impossible to tell what's actually going on exclusively from the video, but whatever it was big and it looked interesting.
Alright, so this next photo is of Jerry Freeman, taken on a forbidden trip back in 1997. And his head here is supposedly covering the area where the secret S4 hangars are, according to the legendary Bob Lazar. So, this guy had quite the adventure close to the forbidden military base, and according to him, he was actually within the restricted area at points, but the exact borders of Area 51 aren't really shared with the public. So, what's the story with this guy? Jerry Freeman, an archaeologist, decided in 1997 that he was going to embark on a 7-day trek into the highly restricted Nevada test site. The funny thing is about this case though, is that he really had no interest in what most of us would want to see behind the Area 51 curtain. He was just interested in tracing back the trail of the lost 49ers, pioneers who had traversed the area in 1849. He was in search of an inscription made by one of the pioneers, which was believed to be in Nye Canyon above Papoose Lake on the Nellis Air Force Base, totally off limits. Freeman spent days avoiding security. He slept with nothing but a blanket and the clothes on his back. He traveled very light, too light. He was running out of water by the end. And the funny thing is that after this dangerous trek, people were asking him like, so did you see Area 51? What's in there? Where are the UFOs, man? And again, just had no interest in that side of it. So he was like, I think at one point I might have seen Area 51. He'd like climbed on a ridge above Nye Canyon looking down on Papoose Dry Lake, which is just south of Area 51. And he was like, yeah, during the day I didn't see much, but one night I saw some lights. One looked like it was coming from a security vehicle. One was kind of stationary, but it seemed to grow and like shrink in size. Could have been a hangar door opening and closing. I don't know, it's an interesting kind of case.
Number 8. Codename Hood. A book by Los Angeles Times journalist Annie Jacobson, Area 51, An Uncensored History of America's Top Secret Military Base, Little Brown, tells the story of the famous site that has spurred tales and rumors of intrigue and cover-ups. Annie dove through thousands of recently declassified documents to reveal what happened in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s at the government-restricted area near Groom Lake, Nevada. In the book there were some photos, and for this one, Annie said, the black device attached to this balloon in Area 9 of the Nevada test site is a 74 kiloton atomic bomb codenamed Hood, the largest atmospheric nuclear weapon ever exploded in the United States. Standing on a ladder minutes before this photograph was taken on July 5th, 1957, Al O'Donnell put the final touches on the bomb firing system. Area 51 is over the hill to the right of the device, and on the next page and photo and row a column of radioactive smoke rises from the Hood bomb. To the right of the mushroom stem, the landscape can be seen on fire. Approximately 1 hour after the bomb went off, security guard Richard Migas drove through Ground Zero to set up a guard post at the Area 51 guard gate directly over the burning hills.
Next up, we have the Boyd Bushman photos. So Boyd Bushman is no longer with us, but he took with him to his grave many tales of the extraterrestrial friends he met as a Lockheed Martin engineer working within Area 51. At least that's what he claimed. In 2007, Bushman was filmed in a video talking with independent aerospace engineer Mark Q. Patterson about his experiences in the restricted area, claiming to have met several aliens, some of whom were hundreds of years old apparently and hailed from planet Quintumnia. Even said some of these Quintumians were employees of Area 51. Held up a bunch of photographs. The video became relatively big, but I gotta say, call me crazy, these pictures look not great. That alien looks like it's from Spirit Halloween. Nothing against Spirit Halloween. I go every Halloween, but not the most convincing. I think Boyd knew he was on the outs. He died not long after this interview, and I think he wanted to go with a little bit of a prank. Can't blame him. In fact, I respect him for it.
Number 6. Gabe Zeffman. Gabe Zeffman, a private pilot and amateur photographer, spent Christmas Day 2020 flying his Cessna 150 plane over Area 51 and snapping just over 1,000 photos. He captured stunning visuals of the Nevada Test and Training Range and Area 51, showing a mysterious triangle shape inside an open hangar. The hangar is just south of the main NTTR complex at Area 51, and the object looks large, although it is unclear. It does appear to be the only hangar that's open as well. In the videos of his flights posted on YouTube, Gabe can be heard getting clearance for his route over the restricted area. Now for this particular flight, he had higher quality photography gear that allowed him to capture better photos. So what's in the hangar? Seems like we may never know.
Number 5, the alien interview. So there's actually footage of this one, so yeah, not really photos, but I mean, isn't video better than a silly old still photograph anyway? This footage was shown in a 1997 documentary entitled Area 51, The Alien Interview, and the big selling point here was that you were going to see real footage of Area 51 employees in the S4 facility communicating with an extraterrestrial on camera. The man behind the film, simply known as Victor, narrates through the footage, claiming to be former Area 51 employee and whistleblower who copied the footage, which was taken in 1989 before setting out to share it with the world. So you don't hear what was actually being said in the video. There's no sound other than the mysterious Victor relaying the information over the footage, but you do see what looks to be your classic gray alien moving around and opening and closing its mouth. I mean, if it was just a puppet, there was definitely some effort put in here, and by that I just mean they tried to make it look like it was moving.
Number 4. Closest photos of the base ever. In 2017, Tim and Tracy of the UFO Seekers, who was mentioned before, hiked up the 1.4 mile high Tikaboo Peak, a mountain 25 miles opposite the mysterious military base, in order to capture the closest ever pictures of Area 51. From the peak of this mountain, the duo of UFO hunters used a special telescopic lenses to get the clearest photographs of the buildings and vehicles inside the top secret government site. The Area 51 pictures taken show what looks like a water tower, several complexes, and vehicles moving around.
Next up, we have the UFO. In December of 2019, Nevada resident Steve Barron shared pictures and video of this mysterious object flying over a mountain range close to his home. So whatever the object is, looks big. It's far off in the distance, but it's very noticeable and very bright. Definitely doesn't look like the small specks you get in the sky with satellites. It's super bright again, and it moves in a strange pattern too. It doesn't move at one consistent speed or in one single direction. There's a point where it kind of looks like it could be a satellite. It's moving through the sky in more of a traditional pattern, just straight across. But then it stops, starts moving back in the direction it was coming from, and seems to clip along at a good speed too. Like whatever this thing is, it's fast. So I don't know. Could be a drone, I suppose, but you be the judge.
Number 2. The aircraft. A passing commercial satellite seemed to have snapped its top secret next generation combat aircraft on the tarmac of Area 51. Tyler Rogaway of the War Zone was reviewing Planet Labs satellite photos of the high profile secret site when he spotted something outside the ordinary. The highly classified United States Air Force Nevada testing facility is usually especially careful. Air operations are timed out during the gaps between Earth observation and surveillance satellite overpasses. But in this photo, on the taxiway leading through a massive new hangar was a strange shadow. It appears to be a translucent tent. Inside is the outline of what appears to be an unknown type of fighter aircraft. Area 51 is always a popular spot when it comes to publicly available satellite imagery, Tyler wrote. When glancing at daily 3-meter resolution images of the base, we noticed the appearance of a roughly delta-shaped blob on the north apron of the large southern hangar. It stayed there between January 26 and 29, 2022. So what was it? Why did they make this mistake? I don't know.
Next up, we have the Area 51 entrance. So a few years back, satellite photos were shared online showing what looked to be a possible entrance to the ever-elusive wonder that is Area 51. Someone was cruising around on Google Earth and spotted a road leading to a parking lot by the foothills of a mountain. Now, whatever this road leading to this parking lot was actually built for, it wasn't there back in 1998, where satellite images of the same area showed there to be no road leading to this dead-end area with the parking lot. So what's going on? It is pretty strange. Why have all these roads been built leading to a parking lots in seemingly dead-end areas by the side of a mountain? There's nothing there. It's not like, you know, they'd park there and then walk all the way back down the road to go somewhere else. No, it seems as if there's a secret tunnel that's been carved into the side of the mountain. I think Bob Lazar said something about some mountain facility in Area 51. As for what's going on in there, your guess is as good as mine.
Starting us off at number 10, we have the U-2 spy planes. I know, we just want to get to the alien stuff, but in order to get there, we need to go through the weird human stuff first. So, Area 51 is commonly a place of suspicion, with many thinking that there is proof of aliens and alien tech that lives there. But once the top secret area was finally recognized in 2013, it was released to the public that it is actually a top secret US Air Force base, where they test tons of new and not yet released aircrafts. One of those aircrafts being the U-2 spy plane. The U-2 spy plane was first created to keep an eye on the Soviet Union, as the US was worried about a nuclear threat. This plane is known to fly higher than 70,000 feet with a top speed of 805 miles per hour. The idea was that if this plane could soar so high up and at top speeds, it would be less noticeable than other spy planes at the time. It also didn't need to refuel until after 3,000 miles or so. Flight tests began at Area 51 on August 1st, 1955, after a short 8 months of construction. The project was known as Project Aquatone. Sounds like a skin treatment. The defense contractor Lockheed Martin built the first plane on a $22 million budget, which is about $207 million today. Even though this plane was crazy expensive, one was actually shot down over Soviet airspace in 1960. Both the pilot and the planes were retrieved, but forced the US to admit that they were spying. So what happened next? Well, the SR-71 Blackbird. That's right, coming in at our number 9 spot, we have the SR-71 Blackbird, the plane that was to make up for the US Air Force's previous failure. Pressure was on the Lockheed Martin team after the U-2 was shot down. They were to create an entire new plane that could not be shot down and fully operational in 20 months. In case you don't know this, that is an extremely difficult task. The Blackbird finally began testing on December 22nd, 1964, and it featured tons of new tech. Aircraft designer Kelly Johnson said everything had to be invented. Everything. It was known to many as the perfect spy plane. It could fly up to 80,000 feet high and also had a top speed of 2,100 miles per hour. That's a freaking huge jump from the U-2. Many at the time believed that the remains of the Roswell crash in 1947 were actually being kept at Area 51, and don't worry, settle down, I'll get there. But because this was during the Cold War, the CIA actually encouraged the myth that aliens were flying around Area 51 so that the Soviets wouldn't know about their newest weaponized toy. But of course, that wasn't the last of their super cool high-tech toys. At number 8, we have the A-12 Oxcart. This was another plane that was in development at the same time as the Blackbird and was in the running to be the new recon spy plane, but the Blackbird won on that one. The other difference was that the A-12 Oxcart had a crew of 1 and it was operated by the CIA and not the US Air Force, who could fit a crew of 2 in the Blackbird. Later testing proved that the CIA Air Force didn't want to go through the development of this aircraft, so the A-12 slowly morphed into the Blackbird, and even the later plane known as the Interceptor YF-12. The Oxcart, however, was smaller than the Blackbird and faster and could reach higher altitudes, but it was still not the winner in this scenario. It could reach heights of up to 90,000 feet and a top speed of 2,208 miles per hour. These craft only operated from 1967 to 68, which is no wonder why most people forget about this one. Or maybe we were forced to forget about it. It's a conspiracy, man. At number 7, we have the M21 and D21 tag board. Originally known as the Q12, this craft was originally intended to be expendable. The name was later changed to D21 tag board because it was carried on the back of the A12 launch vehicle designated at M21. M stood for mother and D stood for daughter. Then the project was given the name tag board. The D21A was built with titanium and various radar absorbing plastic composites and looked like a stovepipe with a cone in its inlet. The D21 could fly up to speeds of 1700 miles per hour at an altitude of 95,000 feet. It also had a 3,450 mile range before it needed to refuel. That's pretty impressive. The M21 was a two-seat version of the A12, but unfortunately these tag team drone planes had a bit of an accident. During a flight on July 30th, 1966, a D21 collided with an M21 on release, destroying both crafts. Both crewmen were able to be ejected in time, falling to the sea, but one of them tragically drowned after his pressure suit leaked. The D21 drone was then later replaced by the KH-11 keyhole reconnaissance satellite. At number 6, we have everyone's favorite new toy, drones! Okay, I don't actually mean the US Air Force is testing all those tiny little remote controlled toys that we all buy online, but it is believed that the new hangar being built in the same place where the A12 ox cart was tested is actually home to a fleet of new unmanned drones that are just waiting to be taken for a test fly. Test drive? You know, it doesn't matter, you get the point. A quartet of modern hangars divided into two separate buildings measuring 90 feet wide are known to be the hangars number 20 to 23 and have been seen going through some pretty major upgrades. Upgrades for what? Probably these drones. These drones are known more professionally as unmanned combat air vehicles, UCAVs for short. Many theorize that the extension and building of this new hangar in the southern ramp area of the base will house large numbers of these craft, keeping them secret and covered up from overhead spies, inclement weather, and of course our friends above us, the aliens. Coming in at our halfway point at number 5, we have trespassing humans. This one should be an obvious one because I'm sure we all remember the Storm Area 51, they can't stop all of us raid back in September of 2019, which definitely didn't go as planned. This was a Facebook event that over 2 million people responded to going, as well as 1.5 million responded with interested. Obviously, because of all the alien rumors, myths, and legends, just about every single day tourists can be seen trying to get as close as they possibly can to the top secret base. Although the closest people can get is to the gates, which are still miles away from the actual base. Clearly, at least 2 million people thought that if they all band together, then they could storm past the gate, run a few miles, and reach the ultimate destination of Area 51. Emphasis on thought, because on the actual day of the event, only about 150 people showed up and none of them got in. Shocker. I remember the day I came across this event and I laughed my butt off because this was before it made international headlines and I thought it was pretty cool, and I think I even actually responded as going because I thought it was just so freaking funny. But anyway, I never had any real intentions of going because of our number 4 spot. That's right, coming in at number 4 we have camo dudes. All over and around Area 51 you can see camo dudes guarding the gates, viewpoints, and other mildly unprotected entrance and vantage points. These scary and intimidating camo dudes ride around in pure white jeeps, making their presence known to any and all who dare to get close to the top secret base. At the 2 entrances of Area 51, huge and important signs can be seen stating that there is absolutely no trespassing, and if you have the inkling to do so, let it be known that these camo dudes have clearance to use lethal force. That's right, they will shoot at you, and what's the point in finding the answer to are we alone in the universe if you die immediately right after? Or even dying without getting the answer, that's even worse. These camo dudes have also been known to have the ability to listen in on whoever is near the gates, and when tourists ask themselves, hey, I wonder if they will wave to us, they immediately give back a nice little wave confirming that you are being watched and listened to. So, tread carefully. Starting us off in our top 3 spot at number 3, we have UFOs. That's right, no duh. Due to all the top secret flight testing that they do in and around the top secret base, many have found secret little vantage points to camp out and see if they spy anything. With some luck, many have reported seeing UFOs and strange lights above the airbase at night, and many don't believe them to be human technology. Not only have there been reports of strange lights and UFOs above the base, but even in the state of Nevada, there have been countless eyewitnesses to strange things and objects in the sky. I mean, that only makes sense, as Nevada is home to the extraterrestrial highway, which of course was created due to all the alien lore surrounding the area. But many bars, restaurants, cafes, gift shops, all of those things all go along with the theme and also believe for themselves that aliens are indeed real and are indeed here. At number 2, we have spacecrafts. Actual alien spacecrafts. Oh my god! Back in 1942 in Roswell, New Mexico, a devastating crash apparently took place on the night of July 8th. The Roswell Army Airfield reported that they recovered a flying disc from the scene, only to retract their statements soon after, reporting that it was actually just a crashed weather balloon. Yeah, right. Since this incident, many have gone on record saying that the famous picture of Jesse A. Marcel posing with the weather balloon debris was indeed faked. That was what they were asked to report on after the top secret government officials confiscated the actual crash debris and were never seen of again. It is now popular belief that not only was the craft confiscated and brought into a top secret high government hands, there was also 3 human-shaped bodies. Notice the wording. Human-shaped, but not human. Due to all of its top secret mythos, many believe that once Area 51 was built in 1955, that's where all of the evidence from Roswell, New Mexico now rested. Of course, there's no way to prove it unless we get in there, and by the way, I also recently learned that there are even secrets and truths kept from the freaking president. So don't count on getting close to any of that info anytime soon. But wait, back up. Dewey, did you say 3 human-shaped bodies were recovered? Does that mean... Yup. Finally coming in at our number 1 spot, and the most shocking and obvious thing on our list is actual aliens! Back in 1995, footage of an alien autopsy supposedly at Area 51 was released thanks to London-based video entrepreneur Ray Santilli. This footage caused an international sensation and was shown on television networks all over the world. Santilli later in 2006 admitted that the film was a reconstruction, which, no duh. But do we really think the government and the Men in Black would really let the news channels all around the world show an alien autopsy? I don't think so. But that being said, Santilli said the footage was reconstructed, as in that there is actual footage of this autopsy, and whoever created this widely released tape was actually recreating an event that actually happened. To the best of my knowledge, there is no hard proof that this footage exists out there, but it wouldn't matter anyway, because most of it is supposedly lost. All I know is that 3 human-shaped bodies were recovered from Roswell, and that can mean a lot of things. Whether they're at Area 51 or not, I think they're here.
Let's delve into the mystical allure of the Issa Grand Shrine in Japan, a pinnacle of spiritual significance in Shintoism. Revered as one of the holiest and most sacred sites, this shrine embodies a tradition steeped in antiquity and mysticism. Uniquely, the Issa Grand Shrine is part of an ancient and ongoing ritual where it is demolished and rebuilt every 20 years, a practice known as Shikinen Sengu. This ritual, deeply embedded in Shinto beliefs, symbolizes the concept of impermanence and renewal, essential to maintaining the purity and power of the shrine. The materials and techniques used for reconstruction are kept traditional, honoring centuries-old craftsmanship. Access to the shrine's innermost sanctum, where the sacred mirror, considered to be one of the 3 imperial regalia of Japan, is kept, is extraordinarily restricted. This privilege is reserved solely for the shrine's priestess or priest, who is usually a member of the Japanese imperial family, and no other person, not even the emperor, is allowed inside. This level of exclusivity and the profound cultural and religious significance of the shrine make it a fascinating, albeit very mysterious, destination. Next up, we have Room 39 in North Korea. Room 39 in North Korea represents a layer of mystery within an already secretive nation. Believed to be nestled in the heart of a ruling Workers' Party building in Pyongyang, Room 39 is enveloped in mysterious tales and a lot of speculation. This clandestine entity is rumored to be a linchpin in a network of illegal activities primarily focused on generating foreign currency for the regime. It is said to be involved in a wide array of covert operations ranging from counterfeiting currencies to international insurance fraud and even illicit substance trafficking. The reality of what transpires within its walls is known to only a select few, shrouded in the utmost secrecy. This veil of mystery only compounds the intrigue surrounding Room 39, making it a focal point of international curiosity and speculations about the lengths to which
which North Korea goes to sustain its economy and fund its leadership's agendas. Next up, we have the Jiangsu National Security Education Museum in China. This museum, located in the heart of Nanjing, represents a unique facet of espionage history, but with a catch. It is strictly off-limits to foreigners. This policy is not just a formality, it is rigorously enforced, underscoring the sensitive nature of the exhibits within. Inside, the museum houses an extensive collection of Chinese espionage equipment and confidential documents, offering an unparalleled glimpse into the shadowy world of spies and secret agents. It's a veritable treasure trove of state secrets, spy gadgets, and covert operations, accessible exclusively to Chinese citizens. From cipher machines used during revolutionary times to modern-day surveillance equipment, the museum provides a comprehensive overview of China's intelligence history. It stands as a testament to the country's very complex relationship with espionage. It is shrouded in mystery and very tightly controlled, mirroring the secretive and exclusive nature of the intelligence world itself. Next up, we have the Woomera Prohibited Area, sprawling across the arid landscape of South Australia. This place stands as one of the world's largest military testing ranges. Covering an area larger than some countries, this vast, desolate expanse is full of secrecy and tightly guarded against public intrusion. Established in the Cold War era, it has been an essential site for testing a wide array of military hardware, ranging from cutting-edge missiles and advanced weaponry to unmanned aerial vehicles and drones. The testing conducted here is crucial for national defense and international collaborations involving partners like the United States. The airspace above Woomera is regularly cleared for testing, creating a temporary no-fly zone that underscores the seriousness of the activities undertaken. Despite its importance, very little is known about the specific projects and experiments conducted within its boundaries, as strict security measures and confidentiality agreements keep these details out of the public eye. This combination of vastness, secrecy, and advanced military technology makes the Woomera Prohibited Area a fascinating and intimidating locale, far more restricted than most classified sites globally. Nestled in the ancient city of Aksum, Ethiopia, stands a modest chapel believed to be the final resting place of one of history's greatest relics, the Ark of the Covenant. This sacred chest, as described in the Hebrew Bible, is said to contain these stone tablets of the 10 Commandments given to Moses on Mount Sinai. Shrouded in divine mystery, the Ark's presence in this chapel is guarded by a single monk appointed for life. This guardian, sworn by a vow of silence and seclusion, is the sole human allowed to gaze upon the Ark, making this one of the most restricted religious sites on the planet. This strict access and secretive nature of the chapel's contents have imbued it with a profound sense of reverence and intrigue. Pilgrims and tourists may visit the compound, but the chapel itself remains a tantalizing mystery, its secrets preserved within its unassuming walls. The blend of myth, religion, and historical significance surrounding the Ark continues to captivate the imagination of believers and skeptics alike, making the Chapel of the Ark of the Covenant a unique and mysterious site in the tapestry of human history. Moving on down, we have the Heard Island volcano. Heard Island, situated in the sub-Antarctic, is one of the most remote and inhospitable places on Earth. Dominated by the active volcano Big Ben, the island presents a landscape of dramatic natural beauty and daunting extremes. The harsh climate, characterized by persistent cold, fierce winds, and heavy snowfall, renders access to this isolated island almost impossible. Besides its challenging geography, Heard Island is designated as a protected nature reserve, emphasizing conservation and scientific study while strictly limiting human interference. This combination of natural barriers and legal protection ensures that Heard Island remains one of the least disturbed ecosystems on the planet, a pristine sanctuary for wildlife, and a natural laboratory for scientists studying climate change and volcanic activity. Next up, we have the Royal Bedroom in the United Kingdom. Located in the heart of Buckingham Palace, the Queen's bedroom, well, I suppose it's now the king's bedroom, epitomizes exclusivity and is undeniably one of the most restricted rooms in the entire United Kingdom. This room, steeped in royal history, is a sanctuary for the reigning monarch, filled with priceless artifacts and personal treasures. Its notoriety peaked in 1982 when an intruder, Michael Fagan, shockingly made it past palace security and into the room, an unprecedented breach that shook the foundations of royal security. This incident prompted a massive overhaul of palace security protocols, of course, transforming the bedroom into a veritable fortress within Buckingham Palace. Access to this room is now more tightly controlled than ever, reserved for a select few and guarded with the highest levels of security, ensuring that such a breach remains a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence. Moving on, we have Area 122. Area 122, ensconced within the Antarctic Treaty's no-go zones, lies secluded on an island in the Enderby Land, a remote part of Antarctica known for its harsh and unforgiving climate. This area is designated as a specially protected zone, aimed at preserving its unique and fragile ecosystem. It's a sanctuary for an array of polar wildlife, including species that are not found anywhere else on the planet. The strict restrictions in place mean that access is extremely limited, with tourists and even scientists requiring special permits to visit. These permits are seldom granted, ensuring that human impact on the area's pristine environment is kept to an absolute minimum. The isolation and protection of Area 122 make it one of the most intriguing and least disturbed natural areas on Earth, a true example of untouched wilderness. Next up, we have the Granite Mountain Records Vault. Owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Granite Mountain Records Vault is an awe-inspiring facility carved deep into a mountainside near Salt Lake City, Utah. This massive vault, constructed in the 1960s, is a fortress designated to withstand natural disasters and nuclear attacks. Its primary purpose is to house and protect a vast collection of genealogical and historical records, including millions of microfilm reels containing family history and vital records from all over the world. The security measures surrounding the vault are extraordinary, featuring state-of-the-art technology and rigorous protocols to ensure the preservation and protection of these invaluable records. The public's access to the vault itself is extremely limited, with the church maintaining strict control over who can enter the facility. This secrecy and the critical nature of the documents stored within add to the vault's mystique, making it a topic of fascination and intrigue among both genealogists and just the general public. Next up, we have Porton Down. A British research facility located in Wiltshire, Porton Down is a hub of scientific inquiry dedicated to the study of chemical and biological weapons. Established during the First World War, it has since been at the forefront of research in these fields. The activities and experiments conducted at Porton Down are of the highest classification, covered in secrecy and subject to strict government oversight. This veil of mystery has made the facility a magnet for conspiracy theories and controversies over the years. It has been associated with everything from unethical human testing to the development of advanced undisclosed weaponry. Despite its notoriety, Porton Down plays a crucial role in national defense, helping the UK to understand and defend against chemical and biological threats. However, the exact nature of much of its research remains a closely guarded secret, adding to its mysterious and somewhat ominous reputation.
Starting us off with number 10 are the missing ones. So there have been many conspiracy theories and real stories where the CIA has assassinated people, they've planned to kill people, they've made people go missing if they know too much. And I know the first thing that comes to mind when you think about these missing people is that they were obviously killed. I mean, if they're gonna go to the effort of making someone vanish off the face of the earth, then surely they'd just kill them. But what if they didn't? What if they transported them to a secret underground base at Area 51? We already know there are quite a few underground facilities at Area 51, so why can't a prisoner holding base be one of them? If you're locked up or trapped in Area 51, you're as good as dead according to the CIA anyway, since no one will ever know you're there or be able to find you or save you. It's the perfect non-violent solution where everyone wins, except of course the people locked up in Area 51. Sorry about that. Coming in at number 9, we have alien scientists. So I feel like with the amount of government cover-ups over different plane and military craft crashes and their remains, I definitely believe Area 51 houses aliens, and not just the dead remains of all the ones for observation. I'm talking proper communicative aliens that are helping human scientists. This may be far-fetched, but considering people think a one world government operates at Area 51, that government would need a lot of alien tech for whatever their future plans of world domination are. So with that in mind, I think from these alien spacecraft crashes in the past, living aliens were saved from them, and now they're here working for the US government, either voluntarily or involuntarily. And they probably have Einstein level knowledge and then some, so I hope they're the first people we saved when we went in there. I don't know. I haven't checked yet. But you probably would have by the time this goes up, so let me know. At number 8, we have the getaway sources. So say the whole world is going to right now. Say there's been like a zombie apocalypse or something more realistic like climate change, tipping point, or a food shortage or a disease epidemic or something, or a 2012 scenario where like the earth is literally breaking apart. People need to run, they need to survive, and in this scenario, forget us mere citizens, they're not worried about us. The people that they'd want saved are the leaders, the president, the very rich, and the people with power. And like in the movie 2012, this top 1% had a secret base in China where they would be safe from everything. Similarly, I think the same sort of thing is located in Area 51 in the form of getaway flying saucers. Think about it. The only way to save yourself from this planet, from the horrors of it, is just to simply leave the planet. And what better way to do that than on highly advanced spacecraft with aliens or extraterrestrials you've been making this plan and deal with for the past century. It's like the perfect escape. Us peasants just get to die on Earth and Trump's out here making planet Ploot great again. Filling our number 7 slot are the bodies. So we've heard of the BBC crew that got into the base and were basically pointed at with guns and forced to stay on the floor for hours. There are signs all around and leading up to the base saying you'll get shot if you try and trespass onto the base, but of course in kinder words because they can't just outright say we'll shoot you. I suspect there have been many people that have managed to make it into the base, and some were definitely shot, and that wasn't publicized because it makes the government look bad. Some probably did make it somehow but were hiding on the ground under some major camouflage, and I suspect they were either found out and then killed, stayed hiding there because hiding there was still better than trying to leave, getting spotted, and then getting shot. All in all, I suspect there are quite a few skeletal remains to be found in Area 51. I feel like the families of those people are still like, where did they go? They went to get groceries and they never returned. Now at number 6 are alien offspring. I feel like any alien still at Area 51 right now is either dead and there for observation, or working there involuntarily, or locked up. Honestly, let's be real, none of them actually want to be there when they could be at home with their families on planet Glurp. Like, let's be real. So with that being said, I'm sure there have been many escape plans executed by them, maybe some even self-sacrifice, not wanting to tell the evil humans their secrets, or because they simply couldn't take being on Earth anymore. So to combat that and ensure the longevity of the alien link, I really believe the heads in charge definitely got them to reproduce and cloned those eggs or fetuses so they'd have a whole armory of aliens if the existing ones successfully left, or whatever the hell escaped, died, blew up, self-detonated, I don't really know. Coming in at number 5 are star-crossed lovers. I feel like this has to happen without fail when two people or entities from totally different upbringings and backgrounds meet and hate each other at first and then they fall in love. In this case, I'm talking about an alien and one of the Area 51 workers. So as I previously mentioned, there are most likely aliens living at Area 51 who can communicate with us, so I feel like one of the workers, if not more, who interact with them daily have probably fallen in love with one. You know how it goes, it would have started off like, what the hell are you? And vice versa. Then it would have been like, okay, let me just quickly do my job and then leave. Then it would have moved on to things like telling each other bits and pieces about their own lives. Then in a moment of laughter, one of them realizes, wait, I'm head over heels in love with them. And then comes the confession of love, then the no, we're too different, it'll never work, the CIA won't let you be with me, and my parents on planet Yip Jew will never allow this. And then they get over it and have a secret romance until one of them has to kill the other, Hunger Games style. And if you weren't just sucked into that love story so hard, then you're definitely lying. At number 4 are dinosaurs. Hear me out, I know you're gonna think I'm ridiculous, but I'm not. Maybe a little bit. So there is no proof that says aliens came after us. If anything, we've seen signs in cave drawings from God knows what BC indicating that alien sightings have been occurring for a long time. So who's to say they weren't around during the Cretaceous period and prior? What if they were flying in and out of Earth during the period dinosaurs roamed the Earth? It's not like dinosaurs could record that aliens were visiting, and even if they did, somehow they were wiped out anyway, so there's that. But what if aliens found them interesting? What if they're like, ooh, what is that? What if they stole and preserved some eggs here and there like Jurassic Park? If they were smart, honestly, if it was me, I would have gotten one of each gender for each species of dinosaur, and if they did, who's to say they weren't forced to share that at Area 51 after being captured from a crash? Or what if they wanted to share the knowledge? Pretty sure dinosaurs have a better chance of surviving on Earth where there's oxygen than on planet Zeus where there's none. It could be the Alien-Human Dino Alliance, ADA for short. Filling our number 3 slot are clones. Okay, so there's a huge debate about whether cloning is ethical or not. I mean, honestly, yes, it is weird. It's creepy to have someone or something that looks exactly the same as something else, yet their personalities are completely different. It's strange, I get it. We've successfully cloned animals throughout history, but humans is something we've never done. Most countries in the world actually ban cloning anyway, so there's that, but there's a bunch of states in the US that don't specifically ban cloning, but ban reproductive cloning. So if human technology can achieve it, maybe alien technology can and has. What if there are clones just walking around Area 51 and we have no idea about it? What if they've cloned prime ministers and other world leaders to make it easier to make appearances when really the real Theresa May is on planet Clintob? What if? What if they're in there cloning humans and aliens? There are just so many what ifs. Am I a clone? Who knows? Now at number 2 are the cures. So again, this one is problematic to talk about, but somebody's gotta do it. That someone's gonna be me. Many people believe that the government injects diseases into the public, which creates an epidemic. Many thought that of the Ebola outbreak in Africa a few years ago as well. Some think the government is behind it to control population numbers, whereas others think they do it to distract from a bigger story going on underneath. Whichever story you want to believe, if the government created the disease, they also created the cure to it, and I believe those cures are stored in Area 51. And I even believe they have the cure to other things like AIDS and cancer in there as well. You know how they say the pharmaceutical industry makes the most money because they keep you sick? If you weren't sick, they wouldn't be making money, so they don't even want a cure to be found. But what if it's already been found? They're just not releasing it so the economy can gain more money for all these people that do have these illnesses. Sadistic, and it's all there in Area 51. I hope when you guys raided it, you found it. And finally, at number 1 is Osama bin Laden. Very controversial, I know, and of course I don't mean any disrespect by putting him on the list, but again, I'm not gonna pussyfoot around any topic on this channel. So the news broke in May of 2011 that bin Laden had been found in a compound and killed by a CIA-led operation. That's all we know, that's all we got told. And I've been hearing about this conspiracy for years now that he actually wasn't killed. Like, did we ever see his dead body? No, we didn't. They said they identified his body many ways, by his height. Well, many people out there are 6'4". Apparently one of his wives was shouting his name during the raid, and again that could have just been a body double and someone paying an impoverished woman to just shout a name. It's not that hard. His burial took place at sea and it wasn't documented. According to a US official, there are pictures of his body and the burial, but where they at though? So no one other than the people involved saw his apparent assassination and burial, so people believe that, well, 1, they didn't actually kill him, 2, they killed a lookalike because that could be possible, it's happened in the past, or 3, he's being hidden in Area 51 till his death. So, I mean, there's some food for thought.
And we're starting things off in Australia with Heard Island. If you're not into getting swallowed up by lava, you'll probably want to stay away from this place, and even if the idea of that entices you for whatever reason, you weirdo, well, you're not allowed to go anyway. It's all in the title of the video you just clicked on, Restricted Islands. So this place is very unique, but also incredibly treacherous. First off, let's talk weather. Heard Island is no stranger to wild and unpredictable conditions. It's notorious for its harsh climate, with constant storms and heavy precipitation. The winds here can be downright ferocious, sometimes a Category 3 hurricane level of force. Just not ideal conditions to pull up in a boat and set up camp. Another thing that makes visiting this place unappealing is the terrain. It's just full of glaciers, rocky peaks, and active volcanoes. Big Bend, the island's highest peak, is a hotspot for volcanic activity. It's just a horrible concoction of the worst weather conditions possible. Intense wind, ice, lava, and on top of all that, it's one of the most isolated places on the face of the Earth, so a rescue mission would just be a logistical nightmare. If something goes sideways, help is not just a phone call away. I mean, you can call, they just won't get there in any due time.
Alright you guys, next up we've got Runit Island, located in the Marshall Islands. And while its land and waters are stunning, what I tell you next might just ruin it for you. I'm so sorry. Anyways, do you like radioactive waste? If you said yes, that's super weird, but okay. You've probably guessed by now that Runit has a fair amount of radioactive waste, in which case you'd be right. But do you know how much? That's right, Runit is home to an estimated 73,000 cubic meters of radioactive debris, which are all stored inside a massive 18-inch thick concrete dome located on the island. By the way, that's the equivalent of 73 million liters of waste. Throughout history, the United States conducted 43 nuclear tests on the island, at least one of which spread little bits of plutonium all over the island. Because of this, while you can boat around Runit's shoreline, a 25,000-year restriction has been placed on the island itself. Very much a don't look, don't touch kind of situation.
Next up on the list we have Diego Garcia. Now this has to be one of the most secretive US military bases in the entire world. It's also said to be one of the most strategically advantageous, so it's no surprise how super locked down it is. And on top of that, there's also a lot of controversy tied to this place. Diego Garcia is a small atoll in the Indian Ocean. It's part of the British Indian Ocean Territory, but the US military basically set up shop and turned it into one of their most prized bases. During the Cold War, they decided this atoll was the ideal spot for a Navy and Air Force base, and that's because it's a prime location that allows for quick access to the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. There are some interesting but very disturbing theories about Diego Garcia. One is that there's a big secret military prison on the island that carries out incredibly harsh punishments and interrogations, a place where enemies of the country are whisked away and never seen again. And of course, because the place is cut off from the mainland, it would also be a pretty good spot for some top secret, highly advanced weapons testing. No surprises here, but this is not a place the general public is allowed to add to their next vacation destination, unless you've been messing around, F around and find out, right?
Next up, we've got North Brother Island, located in New York City's East River and, of course, banned to the public. The island was actually purchased by New York in 1855 so that they could build the Riverside Hospital, which was used to isolate and treat people with contagious diseases such as typhus, smallpox, measles, tuberculosis, and yellow fever. The island was also home to one Typhoid Mary, the woman who is single-handedly attributed to the spread of typhoid fever. Rough title, but fitting, I suppose. Beyond the many individuals who would have died while receiving treatment in the Riverside Hospital, in 1905 over 1,000 deaths occurred in the waters surrounding the island after a steamship caught fire near its shores. After the tragedy, the island shut down for a while, but it was reopened after the First World War as housing for war veterans. After that, it was used to treat addicts. Eventually, in 1963, the hospital shut its doors for good and the island was fully evacuated. Today, it is strictly off limits, inhabited only by overgrown weeds that have taken over roads and walkways, deteriorated and highly unstable buildings, and various forms of wildlife.
Next on the list is Bouvet Island, which happens to be the most isolated place on Earth. Sitting far out in the South Atlantic Ocean, it's as remote gets. There's literally nothing around for thousands of miles. No neighbors, no nearby countries, just the vast open ocean. And that's a pretty frightening idea. If you found yourself in a bad situation here, good luck. And it's also a frozen chunk of rock and ice, constantly being battered by fierce winds and rough, choppy water. The weather is notoriously unpredictable, and storms can hit out of nowhere. It's basically uninhabitable. I mean, it is. The only people who are ever able to set foot here are the very occasional research teams or fishermen.
Next up, we've got the Farallon Islands, commonly referred to as the Devil's Teeth. If the name alone isn't enough to keep you away, I can give you 3 things that might do the trick. shoals, sharks, and radioactive waste. Not to mention, it's illegal. So let's start with the shoals, shall we? Treacherous underwater terrain with the ability to shred the bottom of sea vessels. I'd say that's a pretty major hazard for any boat trying to get close to the shores of the island, which is the only way to get onto it. Next, we have sharks, which highly populate the surrounding waters of Farallon Island. And finally, the one we've all been waiting for, radioactive waste. How much? Not much. Just 47,800 drums full that are estimated to be slowly leaking their radioactive insides into the water surrounding the islands, contaminating the fish and sharks. You want to deal with radioactive sharks? Cause I don't. What I'm trying to say is that while I'm sure a few of you love the idea of breaking rules and challenging authority, I am begging you, please don't go here, because chances are you won't even make it onto the island. And even if you somehow do, all you're gonna find is a crap ton of aggressive, overgrown rodents. So 10 out of 10, it's not worth it.
The next creepy island on the list is Gas Mask Island in Japan. Now I know what you're all thinking. I mean, you hear that title and it's just like, wow, that sounds like a pleasant family getaway. And in all honesty, that may be the case today. It does look like a beautiful spot, but at one time this place was a complete ghost town, and it could be, again, really at any time. And that's because Miyakojima is a volcanic island. The reason it earned the nickname Gas Mask Island is because of its history with volcanic activity, particularly the high levels of sulfur dioxide gas spewing out of its active volcano. Back in 2000, the situation got pretty serious. The volcano started belching out way more sulfur dioxide than usual, making it the air quality downright dangerous. So in response, the Japanese government were forced to evacuate the entire population of the island. People were required to wear gas masks when they returned to their homes to gather belongings or check on things, and even when people were allowed to come back fully in 2005, people had to wear gas masks all the time. Now things have settled down a bit, but living on this island means being prepared for potential evacuations and harmful gases in the future. So residents are required to own gas masks. Even if you're just visiting, you gotta buy one, because at any time the volcano may start acting up again.
Next up, we've got Devil's Island, home to one of the most infamous prison systems in history. Crimes of those imprisoned on the island's penitentiary range from offending Napoleon III, vicious killings, or just simply existing in some cases. The conditions of this prison were less than savory. In fact, some people have referred to the penitentiary as the most feared prison in modern history. The prisoners who survived the journey to the island, which not all did due to treacherous waters and dangerous shores, were locked in cages, underfed, and used as inexpensive laborers, forced to work naked in waters up to their waists. And if they didn't live up to the impossibly high standards set by the prison guards, they were punished with steam and sulfur. Between the years of 1852 and 1938, over 56,000, mostly male prisoners were sent to the island. 90% died as a direct result of mistreatment and disease due to the unsanitary conditions of the grounds. The prison finally shut down in 1953, and since then the island has remained uninhabited. Due to rough waters and the harsh terrain surrounding the island, it has been deemed unsafe to enter, and therefore all visitation has been strictly banned and prohibited.
Now we head to the inhospitable Antipodes Islands just south of New Zealand. Not only are these islands completely inhospitable, they're mountainous with incredibly harsh winds, and they're also volcanic. And there have been a number of shipwrecks on these islands. A ship called the Spirit of the Dawn, carrying 16 people, got into trouble and crashed off the main island's coast in 1893. There were 11 survivors, and for 87 days they were stuck on the island, surviving on raw mutton birds. Luckily, their makeshift flag caught the attention of a ship and they were rescued, and there have been other wrecks, but as recently as 1999, a yacht met its unfortunate end at the Antipodes. 2 lives were lost, Gary Clark and Roger Sale.
And finally, to finish us off today, we have Grenard Island in Scotland, home to highly unethical experiments involving livestock and anthrax contamination. It was 1942 when the British military began experimenting on Grenard Island with the highly lethal biochemical weapon known as anthrax. And if that wasn't bad enough, part of the experimentation process involved populating the island with a total of 80 sheep, and then detonating a number of bombs filled with the infectious disease, covering the island in a lethal aerosol cloud that took out the entire sheep population within just a few days. The testing done on the island was actually in preparation for Operation Vegetarian, which thankfully never took place, but it was an attack strategy created by the British designed to take out their German adversaries at the time. Attempts to decontaminate the island were made, including bombarding it with napalm, but the anthrax spores were resilient and remained in the air and highly infectious, which is rightfully so why the island remains under permanent quarantine to this day.
Coming into number 10, we have Up Close and Personal with Area 51. In September 2017, YouTube channel UFO Seekers did just that. They sought UFOs. What did they find? Well, you will see. Tim Lee and Tracy Doyle hiked up Tickaboo Peak, a 1.4 mile high mountain 25 miles opposite the military base. The duo used telescopic lenses to get the clearest possible photos of the secret base ever taken from outside by just a civilian. Although you can't see little aliens running around or anything, there are plenty of vehicles to be seen, plus an expansive building and water towers. It isn't too scary, but the video is super interesting, how they got there and everything, and actually it's quite tense. Had they been caught by authorities taking long lens images, then they really could have been in trouble. The video is 18 minutes long, but here is a clip of the YouTubers finding the base. The video has had over 2.4 million views. Perhaps the Kyles are watching it to swat up for their attack planned on the 20th of September. Kyles. Coming in at number 9, we have Even Closer, if you can imagine it. This is one of the closest ever images taken of Area 51. It was taken from a light aircraft and is in the Nevada Aerospace Hall of Fame right now. Here we can see a much closer overview of the whole compound, something that would have been classified just a few years ago. Coming into number 8, we have the airstrip. In 2013, some documents about Area 51 were declassified, although many criticised the response to the Freedom of Information request to having been underwhelming, featuring heavily redacted information. Nonetheless, in 2016, the US did permit Google Earth to photograph the area, which had previously been a no-fly zone. Now you too can view the facility from a bird's eye view. You can check it out and see what's going on, although from very high in the sky. From browsing Google, around 12 miles north of Area 51, there seems to be an unexplained airstrip coming in at around 1 mile long. There is also a visible cluster of buildings at the end of the strip, which is kind of baffling. We've got no idea what's being tested here. According to intel from the website Live Science though, it is thought that the space could be used to test reconnaissance drones. Coming into number 7, we have the Paradise Trailers. Area 51 used to be colloquially known as Paradise Ranch in order to make it sound more appealing to families of workers. I suppose it's a lot to ask a person to relocate to the middle of the desert, so why not rebrand the place Paradise and make it sound more appealing? An image has been released of the Paradise era showing a number of trailers at the facility. Is this where families lived, or was it home to aliens? It's kind of cool seeing how things used to be in its heyday, assuming its heyday's over. We just don't know. Alright, coming into number 6, this is the big one. It is the alien autopsy. The alien autopsy was reportedly shot in Area 51 and depicts the aliens that were transported to the facility from Roswell after the 1947 crash. The crash was said to have been of a flying disc UFO and was said to have contained wounded aliens. The video was released in 1995 by Ray Santilli, who said that the footage had been supplied to him by a former military camera technician who wanted to remain anonymous, obviously. Let's have a little look at the footage, shall we? I mean, that is a dead alien right there, right? But like, is it? The footage absolutely blew up in 1995, but people were quick to call it a fraud. In the end, Santilli claimed that yeah, only part of the footage was real. He said that only a few frames from the original footage were there, but they were there. He also said the rest had been replicated and was a reconstruction of footage he had but was damaged. Sounds likely. Coming into number 5, we have the Roswell rescue. Footage claiming to be from the Roswell fallout surfaced on the internet in 2015 and alleges to show agents holding alien corpses and taking them on a stretcher. Have a little look. it kinda looks a bit sketchy, right? Can we get another look? I guess it was 1947, so we can't expect too much film-wise, but I'm not sure this is quite the smoking gun we were looking for. The video has had around 160,000 views on YouTube, but the like to dislike ratio suggests that some people may not be too convinced as to its authenticity. One of my favourite comments on the video comes from Mr. Saturday Night Special, who wrote, "This has to be real. Everyone knows when you travel across the universe you don't wear clothes, just ask Chewbacca. He'll tell you, you're right. You know what, are we the only species that like to cover our modesty? All of these aliens crashing, like, where are their little alien suits? Come on." Coming into number 4, we have Kodak confirms, allegedly anyway. In 2014, a UFO expert, Tom Carey, was sent images from a woman who wished to remain anonymous, but claimed that she had worked with the Secret Service. The image was reportedly taken at Area 51 following the Roswell crash, and seems to show a bug-like alien. Let's have a look, shall we? The image seems to support what a number of people who used to work at the Area 51 have said about the facility, including Robert Lazar and staff members from the esteemed Lockheed Martin firm. But like, seriously, come on, is this an actual image of an alien? Can we trust anything in the age of Photoshop? It seems that Carey thought of that and sent the image to Kodak themselves, who were able to confirm that it was taken in 1947. Again, allegedly. If they sent him a letter saying this, then I haven't seen it. When speaking to the press, Carey said, "What's interesting is that the film is dated in 1947. We took it to the official historian of Kodak up in Rochester, New York, and he did his due diligence on it, and he said that yes, this film strip and the slides are from 1947. It's 1947 stock. From the emulsion on the image, it's not something like's been photoshopped today. If Kodak did call this authentic, I haven't seen any certification." Coming into number 3, we have another alien, of course. In 2012, Chicago videographer Adam Dew received a call from his former business partner Joseph Beeson. He claimed that he had something to show him, and boy did he. Beeson had a private disposal unit sister, and she'd come across a box of photographs that seemed to have been taken by someone close to President Eisenhower. He was in a number of the images himself, as were Bing Crosby and Clark Gable. 2 of the images she had been tasked with disposing were absolutely outrageous. Get a load of them for yourself. That's right, it is a small withered brown body of an alien in a glass case. And this was all among the images of the president, which is pretty crazy. The images were found in the garage of a woman named Hilda Blair Ray near Sedona in Arizona. Now the pair did believe that the images were linked to Area 51 and Roswell. They sent the images to none other than Tom Carey. Tom once again believed that the images looked just like what witnesses had described in the Roswell crash. Let's have another look, shall we? It really does kind of look like an alien wrapped in some kind of cloth, but unfortunately for Tom Carey, the image turned out to be of a mummified corpse of an Aztec child, and not a secret leak from Area 51. Our final 2, I have to say, are pretty convincing. It's not alien stuff, but I do think that these are secret pictures from Area 51. Coming into number 2, we have the strange plane. Here's an image of something that looks like a strange aircraft, or something reportedly taken at Area 51 anyway. It is known that the United States Air Force is present at the facility, and several spy planes have been developed there, including the U-2 spy plane and the SR-71 Blackbird, and possibly others like the rumoured Aurora project. So, what is the plane in this image? I don't actually know. Could it be one of the alien aircraft that allegedly whistleblower Bob Lazar talked about reverse engineering? Or is it another spy plane? Finally, coming into number 1, we have an image of a secret plane crash covered up. It seems an A-12 spy plane, possibly the one pictured above, crashed in 1963 after taking off from the secret airbase. The crash happened in Wendover, Utah when Area 51 pilot Ken Colmer was testing the plane's subsonic engines at low altitude. The pilot ejected from the plane crash, after which he was subjected to hypnosis and doping to make sure that he relayed the incident and how it occurred honestly and truthfully. Here are the previously classified images of the crash. Now, as you can see, vehicles raced to recover the wreckage, which was extremely sensitive to the United States Air Force. It seems a government sanitation team was deployed to remove all traces of the spy plane. To me, that sounds very, very strange. So too does it that they kept the images of this plane crash a secret for such a long time. Do you think it really was a spy plane that crashed, or, given the response, something much more sensitive?
It's about the legendary Bigfoot monster and the secret theories surrounding him. Can we ever capture the elusive beast? Click the video now to find out more. Want to see more videos like this one? Check out this video next.